My fiancée made fun of my boring office job in front of her friends, so I smiled and played along. But then everything started to change. I've never been the flashy type. I go to work, do my job, and come home. I work in a quiet office, in a cubicle, on a computer all day. It might sound boring to some, but I actually love what I do. I build software and systems that help big companies run smoothly. It pays well, and I'm proud of it even if I don't talk about it much. My fiancée, Lisa, is the opposite. She's outgoing, loves parties, and cares a lot about how things look to others. That never really bothered me until one night. We had a small dinner at our place with some of her friends. They were all dressed up, talking loudly about vacations, promotions, and who drives what car. I stayed quiet, just listening and helping in the kitchen. Then I heard Lisa say something that stopped me cold. "Oh, Mark? He works a cute little office job. You know, nothing special, just a cubicle guy. But he's sweet." Her friends laughed. She laughed too. I stood there, holding a tray of drinks, frozen for a second. That hurt more than I expected. I never thought she looked down on me. But I didn't say anything. I smiled, walked in, and handed out the drinks like nothing happened. "Yep," I said with a grin. "That's me. Just a regular cubicle guy." Everyone laughed again. I laughed too. But something inside me shifted that night. Later, when they all left and Lisa went to bed, I stayed up thinking. She never asked what I really do at work. She never asked how much I earn, or what I'd built. She never seemed to care. And now, I wasn't sure if I could just ignore that. The next morning, I didn't bring it up. I acted like everything was fine. But I quietly started thinking about us, about the wedding, about whether she really saw me for who I am. The next few days felt strange. Lisa was her usual self, talking about wedding decorations, picking colors for flowers, showing me pictures of expensive venues. I nodded along, smiled when she asked for my opinion, but inside, I felt disconnected. At work, I stayed focused. I led a big project that week, something complex that would save the company millions. My manager praised me in front of the entire department. One of the VPs even mentioned me in a company-wide email. I felt proud, but when I told Lisa about it that evening, she just said, "Oh, that's nice, babe. By the way, look at this suit I saw for the groomsmen." That stung. It wasn't about the suit. It was the way she brushed it off, like it didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. I started noticing other things too. When we met her friends again, she'd always talk about her job, her achievements. If someone asked me about work, she'd answer for me. "Mark's doing his usual tech stuff. He's shy about it." Shy? No. I was just never given the space to speak. That weekend, I went to visit my parents. I needed to clear my head. Sitting in the backyard with my dad, I finally told him what had been going on. He listened, nodded, and said something simple that stuck with me. "The person you marry should lift you up, not laugh at you." That night, I sat alone in my old bedroom, staring at the ceiling. I thought about how we got here. About all the times I overlooked small comments, little jabs, thinking they didn't mean anything. But they did. Back at our apartment, things felt colder. Lisa noticed I was quieter, more distant. "Is something wrong?" she asked one night. I looked at her for a long moment. I wanted to tell her everything, the joke at the party, how it made me feel, how I started questioning if she truly respected me. But I just said, "I'm thinking." "About what?" I hesitated. "About us." Her face changed. She laughed nervously, trying to brush it off. "Is this about the wedding stress? Everyone gets cold feet." I shook my head slowly. "No, it's not that." Lisa stopped smiling. She looked at me carefully, like she was finally hearing something in my voice that she hadn't noticed before. "What do you mean, Mark?" I took a breath. "Do you really respect me?" She blinked. Of course I do. Where is this coming from? That night at dinner, I said quietly. When you made fun of my job in front of your friends. Called it a cute little cubicle job. That wasn't a joke to me. She frowned, crossing her arms. It was a joke. I didn't mean anything by it. But you laughed with them. Like I'm just some boring guy who does boring things. You never even talk about what I actually do. She looked defensive. I don't know what you want me to say. You sit at a desk. You don't really explain what you do, Mark. I nodded slowly. That's fair. Maybe I don't talk about it enough. But maybe you've never asked. She went quiet. For the first time in a while, really quiet. I stood up, walked to my desk, and opened my laptop. I pulled up the system I helped build, a major tool used by her own company, the same one she brags about working for. I showed her the dashboard. This runs the backend for your agency. I helped design it. The work you do? Part of it runs on the software I wrote. I'd built tools for 3 companies your firm works with. And yeah, I do it from a cubicle. She stared at the screen, silent. Why didn't you ever tell me this? She asked quietly. I turned to her. Because I thought you'd care about me, not just what I do. Her eyes started to water. I didn't know you felt this way. I didn't realize I was making you feel small. I'm not angry, I said. I just needed you to see that words matter. Jokes matter. Especially when they come from the person you're planning to spend your life with. She sat down slowly on the couch, her shoulders sinking. I messed up, didn't I? I didn't answer right away. I didn't want to hurt her. I wasn't looking for revenge. I just wanted honesty. I sat down beside her. I don't know what happens next. But I need time to think. Not just about you. About us. About whether this relationship makes me feel seen, not just loved. The room was silent again. But this time, it wasn't awkward. It was full of truth. Heavy, but real. She reached for my hand. I let her. But I didn't squeeze back. We sat there in silence for a while, my hand in hers, both of us staring at the floor like it held the answers we were afraid to say out loud. Finally, I gently pulled my hand away. I think we lost something, I said. Or maybe, we never had it fully. She looked up at me, eyes glassy. You mean trust? Yeah. Trust, respect, understanding. I think we care about each other, but we're seeing life through different lenses. She wiped her eyes. I didn't know how deep it ran, Mark. I thought I was being playful. I didn't mean to belittle you. I guess. I've been so focused on the image of us that I forgot about the S part. I nodded. I think you loved the idea of me. Steady guy, reliable, not dramatic. And I loved the fire in you, the ambition, the energy. But over time, I think we started speaking different languages. She sighed. Are you saying you don't want to get married? I looked at her. Really looked. She was still the same woman I had loved once. But now, I could see the distance between us as clearly as if it were drawn on the floor. I'm saying I don't think we're ready. And maybe we're not right for each other in the way we hoped. She nodded slowly. Her hands trembled, but she kept her voice calm. It hurts to hear that. But part of me knows you're right. I stood up and walked to the bedroom. I started packing a small bag, not everything, just enough to give us space. She didn't stop me. I'll stay at a friend's for a few days, I said, standing by the door. Okay, she whispered. Before I left, I turned to her. Lisa. I don't hate you. I don't even blame you. But we're not growing together. And that's what marriage is supposed to be. She gave a small, broken smile. I hope you find someone who sees the whole picture, Mark. Not just the desk. I nodded once. Then I walked out the door. As I stepped into the cool night air, I felt something unexpected. Not relief. Not sadness. Clarity. The kind that only comes when you finally stop pretending something is working and start listening to the quiet voice inside that says, you deserve to be fully seen. The first night away was hard. I stayed at my friend Ryan's place, just a small guest room with a mattress on the floor, but it felt like what I needed, space. No wedding plans, no forced smiles, no pretending. Just quiet. Ryan didn't ask many questions. Just handed me a beer, nodded, and said, stay as long as you need, man. For the next few days, I worked, walked, and thought. I didn't talk much. I just listened to myself, mostly. The noise in my head slowly faded, and something else started to rise in its place. Direction. One night, I stayed late at the office. Everyone else had gone home, and I found myself alone in the quiet hum of computers and distant hallway lights. I opened a document I had started months ago, an idea for a platform I'd been sketching in my free time. Something I'd never shared with anyone, not even Lisa. I stared at it, fingers hovering over the keyboard. And then, I started to build. Hour after hour, night after night, I poured myself into it. Not for a boss, not for a paycheck, for me. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to be dependable, or easygoing, or cubicle guy. I was just me, creating something that mattered to me. And it felt good. A few weeks passed. I moved into a small apartment, nothing fancy, but clean, peaceful, mine. I decorated it how I wanted. No one to impress. No one to shrink for. I went out for coffee alone, started reading again, hit the gym more often. I caught up with old friends I hadn't seen in years. At first, it felt strange to be single again in my 30s. But little by little, it stopped feeling like an end and started feeling like a beginning. One afternoon, while working at a quiet cafe, a woman sat down at the table across from me. She noticed the code on my screen and smiled. "Are you building something?" she asked. I smiled back. "Yeah. Just something I've been thinking about for a while. Looks cool. I'm a designer. If you ever need help with the interface, let me know." She handed me her card and walked away. I looked down at it and laughed softly to myself. Not because it was romantic, but because, for the first time in a long time, I felt open. Open to possibilities. Open to people who ask, who listen, who see. I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. I was just living honestly. And that was the start of everything.